Hi guys, it's Angie with Fun Endeavors Tie-Dye Lab. Today let's reverse dye a rayon dress. This dress is a Time and True brand dress, which is a sleeveless dress that I bought at Walmart. It is 95% rayon and 5% spandex. And it's a really pretty pink color. They had a few of these colors on clearance not too long ago, so I bought about 3 or 4 different dresses and thought I would try to reverse dye them. I have the dress turned inside out, so the things you see coming off of the side of the dress are the pockets. For this dress, I'm taking the bottom hem of the dress and kind of pushing it up to the very top shoulders of the dress. Then I'm going to just do some random sinew lines. Kind of vertically, but not perfect, because I'm wanting to make them a little bit more random. I'm going to tie my lines with sinew because of the wax coating on sinew. When I do any kind of reverse dye, I use sinew because the Out White Brite that I use for the reverse dye process works so well that if I don't use something like sinew and just try to use, say, kite string or rubber bands, if I don't get it really tight on the item that I'm reverse dyeing, the Out White Brite will pretty much remove all the color. So I have a little bit of a quandary when it comes to this dress though. Because this dress is made out of rayon, rayon is kind of delicate when it's damp, and I have the dress damp with just plain water. So if I get a little too rowdy with the sinew and I pull too tightly, I've seen where people have completely chopped an area off of their dress or off of their shirts when they use sinew. So I don't want to do that. I want to make sure I pull the sinew tight, but not so tight that it damages the dress. So this is going to kind of be an experiment. I don't think I've ever done a dress exactly like this one before that's made out of rayon. I'm not going to put a whole lot of sinew lines in this dress. If you want to put more, you're welcome to. It's just a personal preference. I don't want to make it too busy. So for the reverse dye process, I'm going to use a product called Out White Brite Laundry Whitener. And I buy mine at my local Walmart. It's usually on the laundry aisle close to the bleach products, even though it's not a bleach product. And it won't damage the fabric the way bleach will. If you can't find it at your local store, I have a link down below in the description for this video where you can purchase some from Amazon. I'm going to remove the color from quite a few items all at the same time, so I've placed them all down inside of a plastic tub or tote, and you can see the pink dress down at the bottom. I'm going to liberally sprinkle the Out White Brite over the top of the items. I'm also doing this process outside, and I'm wearing a respirator. The Out White Brite does have a smell, which I don't want in my dye space, and I also don't want to inhale any of the Out White Brite powder or the fumes from this process. After I sprinkle the top with some of the powder, I'm going to pour 2 pots of boiling hot water over the top of the Out White Brite. My container is really full, and I want to make sure my shirts and dresses and items are almost fully submerged in the Out White Brite solution. I'm also going to use a pair of metal tongs, which I purchased from the Dollar Tree dollar store, to move the items around in the solution to make sure everything gets well saturated. If you'll notice, when I pour the boiling hot water on top of the Out White Brite, it starts to bubble and fizzle, and really it starts to remove the color almost immediately. So I can't get everything fully submerged, and I really don't have any more boiling hot water ready to go ahead and dump in the top. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of the items from the bottom of my tub or tote and kind of move them to the top and move my shirts and items around a little bit. I'm also going to add some more of the Out White Brite powder, and as I see items having the color removed, I'm going to go ahead and take them out of the solution. Right now, the pink dress is laying on top, and as you can see, most of the color was immediately removed from that one. It's a pretty thin fabric because it's rayon, and because I didn't tie it really tightly, the solution was able to work down through there pretty quickly. What I mean by I didn't tie it really tightly is I didn't put a whole lot of sinew lines in the dress. If you'll notice some of the other items, I have a lot of lines, which is kind of making the fabric a little more compact. When it looks like the dress has had the color removed, I went ahead and took it out of the Out White Brite solution, took it to my utility sink, and I rinsed it in cold water. I did the same with the other items inside this plastic tote. After all the items were rinsed, I washed them in cold water in my washing machine along with a little bit of Dharma's Professional Textile Detergent. I like to wash my items in between the color removal process and soaking them in soda ash. I think it gets out a lot of the residue from the Out White Brite, and it also gets out a lot of the smell. I left these items tied for the entire process, so I'm not going to untie this dress until I rinse it out for the final time. After I took the dress out of the washing machine, I placed it inside of a soda ash solution and allowed it to soak, probably about 20 or 30 minutes, just to make sure it got saturated really well with the soda ash. I didn't use my main soda ash solution bucket for these reverse dyes. They normally leach out a little bit of smell and residue from the Out White Brite when you place them in the soda ash. And sometimes they'll leach out some color too. So I don't want that in my main soda ash bucket. So I have one that I use specifically for reverse or previously dyed items. Since I think it smells a little bit funky after doing reverse dyed items, I normally just dump it after doing a batch of reverse dyes and make up a new solution. After I spun this dress out in my Panda spin dryer, I went ahead and placed it aside and allowed it to dry out. It doesn't have to dry out completely because it's not a super thick fold and the fabric is fairly thin. But I was doing a few other projects, so I just went ahead and let this one dry as well. To ice dye this dress, I'm going to place it in an expandable metal colander, which I have over the top of a plastic tub or tote. I want a softer feel to this dress, so I'm going to apply the dye over the top of the ice. So I'm going to start by adding a bunch of ice to the top of the dress. I'm choosing to use just a single color dye on this dress. I'm going to use Elysian, which is one of Dyespin's Dark Horse dyes. And Elysian is a gorgeous color. It's got a lot of blues and teals and turquoise-ish purple type colors. I think it'll look really pretty with the pink lines in the dress. I'm going to sprinkle it over the top of the ice, and then I'm going to add an additional sprinkle of dry soda ash over the top, just to make sure I have plenty of soda ash remaining in the dress once all the ice melts and runs through the dress. The fiber reactive dye that I use needs to have a raised pH to properly bond the dye to the fabric. So after the ice melted, I left the dress alone and allowed it to process for about 24 hours before I began rinsing it. To rinse the dress, I took it to my utility sink and I began rinsing it in cold water to rinse out the soda ash. Then I untied the dress and warmed the water up to hot and continued rinsing in hot water to rinse out the excess dye that didn't bond with the fabric. Instead of continuing to rinse for a long time, I ran some really hot water in my utility sink, added a little bit of Blue Dawn dish detergent to the water, and placed the dress inside and allowed it to soak. When the water cooled off, I changed it out and I continued that soaking process until my water was remaining almost clear. Then I placed the dress, along with some Dharma's Professional Textile Detergent, into my washing machine and washed it using a hot water cycle. Okay, so I have washed, dried, and ironed the dress, and let's see what it looks like. Okay, so here's the dress laying flat, and I know it's a little harder to see flat, but when you hang it on a mannequin, you don't quite see everything too, so I've got it both ways. But I think it's really pretty. I love this Elysian. I think a lot of people are going straight for the Mindbender and kind of skipping the Elysian, but I love Elysian. I think it's a beautiful color. It has beautiful color splits, and in my opinion, it's definitely a color you shouldn't skip. I know Mindbender has gotten a whole lot of hype or excitement about that color, and trust me, both of the Mindbender A and B are gorgeous colors as well. I'm not downplaying those two colors, but don't skip the Elysian. I think it's really pretty too. So I did notice that because I was a little too nervous about pulling my sinews super tight, I didn't keep a whole bunch of my pink lines. The Out White Brite kind of soaked underneath them, and I ended up with kind of purplish lines. But I think they look really cool on the dress. I don't mind it. I just was a little bit surprised that I didn't have quite as many pink lines. I also noticed when I went to iron the dress that on the inside of the pocket I have one small tear in the fabric. And I don't know if I did that or if it was like that. And of course, I didn't pay attention when I tied the dress because I wasn't really looking at the pockets too much. But I'll just take a little bit of thread and sew that up, and it's not ever going to be noticed by anybody because it's inside the pocket. But I think this dress turned out really pretty. I do like the vertical lines. I think those are pretty cool. And even though they didn't stay pink, they give enough interest to the dress because the way the color was removed kind of right around that area, and then the way the Elysian went on the dress, I don't know, the lines kind of stand out in a cool way. I don't know how to explain it. They kind of have a bit of a green glow around them. It's really pretty. So overall, I think this dress turned out really pretty. I like it. I like it a lot better than I liked it just the original pink color. I think the pink color was cool, don't get me wrong, because I know a lot of you pink lovers out there. But I think this is a lot more interesting to look at than just a solid pink dress. Now, if I could have gotten a white dress, would I have just done it with Elysian and not necessarily done the reverse dyed process? Maybe, but I wouldn't get those cool lines in the dress. So I don't know, but I do think this is a cool one. But I want to know what you guys think. Please drop me some comments down below and let me know. And if you've enjoyed the video, I sure would appreciate it if you would like it and if you'd subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you'll hit the bell, you'll receive a notification whenever I upload a new video. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you have a great day.